Hey, hey, look who it is. It's me and you and me. And we're together now. Hey guys, what's going on? How are we doing? What's going on with your life and friends and family? And all the like around you. This is our first episode after the last Harrius Codex series. Episode 1, I think. Godmind. What a confusing thing, is it not? Slightly confusing. It's not, but it is, you know. To me, it's confusing because I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, how is this all? I don't understand. What do I have to do as a writer? What's my job to do? You know. Because it's like people will assume, I would imagine, one would imagine, that if someone actually gave a shit to kind of ingest this stuff, this Forgotten Series, Harrius Codex, one would imagine they would think I knew what was going on. You know? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like, don't worry guys, I'm stringing you along, I'm gonna answer all these questions in time. Like, meanwhile, I'm sitting here being like, there's questions that I have to answer? Which ones, you know? It's kind of been like that for me. I'm telling you, dude, it's like channeling this kind of story through myself is like, I don't know, I'm not sitting here in the know of it, kind of plucking the right strings and just right, and like, oh, they're gonna love this part, and I'm gonna make sure that I mention this again, you know, because there'll be a payoff and blah blah blah. And I don't know, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just kind of like, I come to this typewriter, I sit down and I go like, oh geez, like, what the hell am I doing? What do I do? And then parts come out like that, and I gotta go, okay, so this is something, and we're just gonna go with it. I don't know. And that's just how a lot of this feels. It's just like hell of a lot. Oh, it's so much. I guess there's a part of me that worries that I'm like, this is, by the time I finish, you know, this season, there's going to be so many questions and no answers. And it's going to be like, what was that? That nothing was coherent, you know, or something. And then I'm going to be like, people will kind of label you as insane because you look at life different, and then now your art's different. So, oh, that means he's crazy. So that's what that is. He's just insane. We can write him off now. Something I think about, you know, all these aspects. I think about it, you know. I can't really help my mind. As hard as I try, I cannot help it. Who I am, what I do, and how I see the world, and that's just kind of who I became, you know. If you've seen the previous videos, you'll know what I'm talking about, you know. That's nothing I can control. You know, as much as I try, and believe me, I have tried in the past to conform and just be like, no, like just be like a regular person and play video games and, you know, care about what you do at work and go out and vote and like learn about the government and, you know, get to religion and all. Like, as hard as I tried to do all that stuff, I felt this wall of like, you're a liar if you pretend that this fucking matters. So like, that doesn't help, you know, trying to do things and you feel so isolated in the world around you. So that's when I knew I was on this self path, you know. I was on this path of the magician, you know, as they say. I was on the inward journey to discover self, and that's what this series is. That's all it's really ever been about. Once I started realizing that that's what I was doing. And the biggest thing I'd say, as much as I kind of take myself down a bit by saying I don't know what's going on, I am well aware of what this is, and this is a modern mythology being written through me, so I'm just kind of not trying to control it with anything, with like, oh no, I don't know about that, or I don't know if I should say this, or whatever it happens to be. I'm just allowing it to fall out. And I, like someone who actually is curious about it, am just sifting through it, trying to come to reason. You know, that's what I've just been working on this typewriter for so fucking long. I was trying to like, well, you know, why did that happen, do you think? Or what does this really mean? Who is the guide? Who exactly is the guide? You know, I don't even know who he is. Why did he turn out to be really funny all the time? In his own way. Like a sidekick. I don't know. Trickster. He's a trickster, right? Is he lying though? Is this all a joke? You know what I mean? The biggest thing that popped in my head was, and this is all on accident, mind you. In the last forgotten episode called the Harius Codex, it's episode 1, Godmind. Harius in the past was saying like, oh yeah, you know, it's like the Twin Towers, because he was trying to describe like how you knew this big cataclysmic event was coming, as he was talking about like the virus that was going to take over, which will come in the subsequent episodes. He used the example of the Twin Towers. Like, oh, like you knew they were going to fall, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, like conspiracy theories and shit, where they say like architecturally that shouldn't have happened and blah blah blah. Jet fuel, they didn't make sense there. It didn't make sense in any way, but for some reason deep down you wanted them to fall. When you really look at it, that's what you wanted. Every time you watch the Twin Tower videos again, you're like, I want to see them fall, right? And that's what he was commenting on. It was like, the idea was sometimes humanity wills really fucked up things to happen, because it gives us, oh, now I can finally be a piece of shit. I can be evil, or I can kill people. It's just something we've done in history. We need this sacrificial element to happen so we can kind of go down to who we really are. That's a person. That's who we are. And as the Harius was saying that, it faded out to go back to Dove and the guide in the control center. And when the first thing that happens, and I didn't plan this, but the guide was humming London Bridge is Falling Down. And then like I had to kind of pause, because, you know, let's go, the guy who made it, that's me doing the guy's voice, obviously. Why did I hum London Bridge is Falling Down right after we were talking about the Twin Towers falling? Coincidence? Most people would say that, like, yeah. But I choose not to. I'm like, well, why would he? So what does this, because London Bridge is a big symbol of London in England throughout history. Huge symbol. Not only what it represents, the bridging of two places and the access, and people used to live on the bridge. I mean, way back there was like homes on it, and it's been rebuilt countless times. It's just a huge thing. And the story is kind of singing about the idea that nothing's permanent. London Bridge is falling down. And that was like a huge architectural achievement in a sense, right? Bridges aren't easy to make. Let's go try making one, we'll find out. So I thought, like, is he making fun? Because I'm trying to explain it in a way that doesn't sound crazy. I understand that that's me that did the song and I was just doing it, but I try to say, if I put it in there, I have to find a reason in lore to make it work. That's how my writing is. No matter what I write, even if it's ridiculous, I have to keep it, and I have to make sure it fits in the lore. So I said, oh, he's a trickster. That's what he is. He's kind of subtly poking fun at this death, this idea, through this child song called London Bridge is Falling Down. It's like he's heard this story before. He's like, yeah, I know. Yep, and the Twin Towers fell. Who gives a fuck? London Bridge is falling down, da da da. Like, he's a madman. It's the idea of it. And so, like, that just opens up a whole doorway, psychologically, of what I could do with that. So there's a for instance, let's say there's a channel called, I think it's called Eternalized, and there's a lot of psychological themed videos on there, from like Carl Jung. There's videos of archetypal ideas of like the trickster personality, not wizard. I think it's like the wizard. You know, like it's archetypal aspects through our mythology that when we explore, we can find it in our psychology and what it all says about us. It's actually very clever. And I can tell one of his favorite people is Carl Jung. So anyway, he made a video about this trickster mentality. As a human being, the more you poke into the unexplainable, the more you're just met with, it makes you laugh, right? I think I've heard it once called the cosmic laugh. You're just like, this is so ridiculous. And so what is ridiculous about it is you open your eyes to the immensities of life. And when you, this is something I can experience myself. And when you walk up to the edge of human consciousness and you peek over and you realize, to put it simply, it's all a fucking joke in a way. Like what people do and what they think matters and all that. That's a fucking joke. And death is, it's amazing when you watch how much people are running from death. Running from their problems, running from their despair and pretending, no, like I'm just trying to be, I don't get bothered by that stuff. Or, you know what I'm saying? Sorry if I'm rambling a bit, but I'm trying to say, you see through all the bullshit and it's hilarious. So one example in history, right, this is the huge one, is the, when you think of the, what are those guys called? The Joker, the Jester. I think they call him the Jester in court. So he's kind of, like the king is the epitome of the consciousness of that region, kingdom, or, you know, land, however big it is. He's the head consciousness of it. He has a retinue around him. And they all decide factors for the land, right? Whether that be through true justice or sometimes corruption. And the jester comes along and makes fun of that. But he's allowed to. Because he's crazy. He's just an idiot. He's a bumbling fool. Look at him. He's doing his little weird dance and stuff. But then he says something real. Then he pokes fun at your reality that you think really matters. And you allow it because, oh, he's crazy. He's not like us. He's got schizophrenia, as we would say now. Like, they're just crazy people that have lost touch with reality, and it's okay. Like, we're good. He's the crazy one. And so you become this kind of, and it's formed into like sad clown stuff. You become this character. This is what I'm finding myself becoming. This is why we're mentioning it. Where you start to realize how hilarious it is what people do. And it's funny to you because it's ridiculous. And when you try to point it out to people, it just comes back like, no, that's you. You're the one. It's like trying to say, hey man, like what you're doing is really fucking stupid. It makes no sense and you're wasting your life away living a lie. And somehow in that conversation, they turn it around and you're like, oh, I guess it's all me, huh? I'm the one that lost touch. I just don't understand. I don't grasp it. I wasn't taught right, or whatever it happens to be. And that's what people fucking do. When they're cornered in their life, they realize maybe a lie. They're like, no. This is progress. You're just standing in the way of it. Trying to be vague, because if I get too detailed, I don't want people to think I'm talking about them, because I'm not really thinking about anyone in particular right now. But you have to understand, when I do this stuff, some people watch this that know me, and I don't want them thinking, oh, he's talking about me. You know, because I'm not. I'm kind of talking on like a scale of my whole life, where everyone turns into one idea. So no one gets offended, you know. Not to say I've ever done all this stuff, because I'm also, you know, in my own reality about it. But anyway, that's the vagueness. This is how that's got to be for now. So these are the things that I've been kind of thinking about, and again, we'll go right back to why we were thinking about it. And I was like, who's the guide? Is he all, like, because you got to believe it, man. Like, I'm sitting here going, like, is the guide part of Dove? Is the guide a ruin? Is he Harius? Is he an aspect of him? Is he the Whisperer? Is he I don't know exactly who he is. I don't know what his game is, besides kind of being a trickster mentor to Dove. And he slowly turns more and more into a little sidekick. Little funny sidekick, you know? Being goofy and stuff. And I don't know why I feel the need to do that. Because I don't know. I don't control that. The part where the guy wants to do his little rap song, right? I didn't even want to do that. I was like, oh geez, why? But I just felt this urge, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're gonna do this fucking thing. And it timed just right, where when I was reading, I paused for a second, and I was like, because I was trying to figure out what the hell I was saying, because I lost track on the lines. And then I realized, oh, we can fit that right in. Boom, boom. I'm like, oh, so it's meant to happen, kind of thing. And that's how this whole process has really been. It's meant to be. It's all happening, and it's all falling into place just right. And I'm like, oh, okay, then I'm sending that, I guess. I don't know. Because that video only took me like 7 hours to make in full. From recording it, putting music on it, voice acting, sound effects, and all that, and editing, and it took me about 7 hours to snap that fucker together. So it just happened quick, and when it happens quick, I know it's like, oh, we gotta send that shit. Now, there are some things about that episode that it's kind of rough for me, like the story, for instance, because I said in the past, that's all what you're about to find out. This is a series of dreams that I really did have. And when I was in the dream, obviously I thought it was fucking real. And so when I'm sitting there like hearing about like the shit with my wife and mother-in-law and subsequently my neighborhood and all that, I just thought like, I don't like it because it freaks me the fuck out. Freaks me the fuck out. Where I'm like, please don't make this be some premonition. Please don't make this be a thing. Like, I hope to God this will never ever happen in any way. The other day we were coming home, me and my wife, and we were driving by and there's a little sign and it said, oh, craft show. I was like, we're not going to no fucking craft show. I don't give a shit. And don't invite your mother. But, and I mean, it's true. It's like, I kind of think about it like that. Or every time I go out, because I wake up 4 a.m. every fucking day to go to work. It's pitch black out, and I walked out down the steps. I always like look over to my shed. You know what I mean? Like, is the door open? You know, is there a guy in there? Just like, I freaked myself out a little bit with that episode. I mean, I'll get over it, obviously. It's kind of like a young terror kind of thing. But it's just creepy. It really is. I can't imagine what that would feel like just to see this thing going on. And it's only going to get darker. The next episode is probably going to be the roughest. And I loathe to do it, honestly, because it's like, man, it's going to be so dark and so fucked up. And I'm kind of uncomfortable doing it, but I know it's like, that's part of the story. We have to write it, so let's get in there and do it. But believe me, man, you'll know. When you hear it, you'll fucking know. Because this is so funny. It's like, some months ago I was at therapy. I was going to therapy and I was trying to get like a sense of where I am. I'm like, okay, let's go to therapy. Let's just get a sense of like, let's get a pulse, they say. Let's just kind of see where we're at, you know? And I did, and again, when I talked to therapists, I was always kind of like let down. I didn't feel like we went deep enough. I felt like there was a lot of listening to me and a lot of, wow, oh, wow, okay, whoa, I like that. You know, and I'm like, no, you're supposed to be helping me. You're supposed to be listening to me and helping me. And sometimes it would be, the therapist wouldn't say a word the whole time. And she'd be like, ah, oh, that one was for me. I needed to hear all that today. And I'm like, when am I going to get healed? You know, like, fucking hey, help me. You know, like, it was crazy. But anyway, I was talking to her once and I was like, oh yeah, Every single night, I have all these dreams. There's so many of them. Sometimes I lose track. Most of the time I forget them. But I do know they're intense. And they're always like, oh my God. Every fucking time. And I can't get good sleep because of these dreams. And she said, are they nightmares? And I said, I wouldn't think so. I mean, I wouldn't define it as nightmares. And obviously, like, that first one was a dream I had. Would you call that a nightmare? I would not call that a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? I've had dreams where I've witnessed gruesome things like that. I'm always a part of some fucked up thing happening, but the dreams to me are more prophetic. They're more like, you know, capturing moments of my life. Remember the dream about me? I don't even know if you know about this, but I told in the past in the video called Dreams or something, where I had to fight that fucking shape-shifting deer. And it was intense, and it was terrifying. I wouldn't really call that a nightmare, though. That's not a nightmare, you know? I've had dreams where I've been in struggles with people. Physical struggles, and we're fighting and stuff. I've had dreams where people have committed suicide in my home. This is crazy. So like in the basement of one of the homes I lived in, the dream happened. And as it was materializing, I got a little bit of snapshot of some pre-story stuff. And it said, okay, by the way, so there's a pillar of the community. He's trying to be elected for, to be a mayor or a governor or some shit. And he's going town to town and blah, blah, blah. And he did his little speech and stuff. And all of a sudden it flashed to him hiding out in my basement because there's some charges on him that he might have done something to a girl or something like that. He might have done something bad. And he was hiding in our basement. And he was freaking the fuck out. And this is where it's weird. As he was freaking out, I was sitting out on a couch watching him freaking out, you know. And I think my mother and brother were there, I think. Pretty sure. And he's just walking back where he's like, I don't know what to do. I just, blah, blah, blah. And then he made mention, he's like, I probably should just kill myself. I can't live this down. And I swear to God, I like looked up at him and I just nodded. I'm like, yeah, you probably should. You should probably kill yourself, you know? He's like, yeah. And he took a gun out and he shot his head, you know, fucking bullet went through. But he didn't die. He started going more crazy. He started just kind of like talking more weird. And he's like, this is life. And I can't believe that we're gonna. And his body movements are creepy and slow. And I was just like freaked out by him. And my brother and mother went upstairs. And I was like, we gotta go. You know, you're gonna have to just. I said, you're gonna have to just die down here by yourself. And he's like, all right, you know, I will die down here. It's so fucking crazy. So I went to leave. He's like, hey, I need to tell you, as he's fucking bleeding and just dying and his body's spasming and he's just weird body jerks and motions and don't forget this. He said, don't forget this. I'm like, okay. That's when I know when a dream's telling me not to forget something, I'm like, okay, let's pay attention. And he said, you're one of the best people that I've ever known. There's no one like you, and there will never be anyone like you. You're one of the greatest people, and people like you only come once in a lifetime. Something along that once in a, I don't remember the time he said, millennia or lifetime, something like that, once in a lifetime. And I said, okay. I don't know how, but okay. And he laid on the couch and I walked around to go up the stairs of the basement and I flicked the lights off and it was dark. And I walked up the stairs and I stopped and I looked back down into the dark basement where I could only see the ends of the steps. And this is what will stay with me. It's crazy. The feeling, the sensation. Let's put ourselves at the top of those stairs looking down in that basement. It's kind of scary, right? It's a little scary, you know? The fact that there was a man dying down there trying to commit suicide by himself, totally afraid, panicking. He just needs comfort. He needs someone to be there. And there was someone down there, that guy, whoever he was, dying by himself. I felt the fucking weight of that when I was standing on those stairs. It was so fucking heavy. I can't explain to you any more detail than that, how freaky it is to just stand there and sense, like, this guy's out dying in the dark by himself, lived a life that he, like, it mattered to him. Everything he did was, like, it was calculated. He wanted to be in government. He thought he was a good guy, you know? He lived his life, and he was great, and he was a smiling, happy guy. To be reduced to this by one fucking mistake, and he decided to kill himself because of that mistake, whatever it was. I don't know if he did something to a young girl or not. I don't know. He must have, because he shot himself. But he was by himself down there with his thoughts in the darkness, dying. And I just felt like I wanted to reach out and help him, but I was like, I can't. I gotta go. I can't help him. And I really, like, I could keep going and trying to get it in your fucking head why it's like such a deep moment for me that I can't get out of my head. I cannot make that leave. That feeling, and I'm like, oh, that's not a nightmare. Well, how's that not a fucking nightmare? Well, that moment for me, I live all the fucking time in life. Where I see people that I care about fucking suffering in the darkness of themselves, committing suicide in a sense of their personality, and just sitting down there in the darkness and sadness and the woe is me and the fucking turmoil by themselves. And I'm standing at the top of the stairs with light behind me going like, dude, get the fuck out of there. But I can't. And I see everyone that I care about doing that very thing in their own way. And then that's what I mean. Like, for me, these dreams are not nightmares. These are prophetic visions. These are telling me things about my life. How I really feel. Not like God shit. It's just like learning your inner self. And that's what it hit me. And I was like, holy shit. Like, that's how I see people struggling away like that. But I can't help but laugh. Because it's funny. Because it's ridiculous. It's meaningless sometimes. Sometimes the person in that basement dying by themselves wants to believe in something so much, but it's something stupid. Something material. Something earthly that doesn't fucking matter. But they're like, no, it does matter. It matters. And you're like, no, it doesn't, dude. Get over it. You were lied to, or whatever. That's kind of what the dreams always are. And, you know, they've been always rough like that. I've witnessed people I care about. Like, I'll give you another dream. We'll just keep going. We'll see how far we can go with this. Next one. I've had a dream where I was at a gas station with my wife. And in the distance, this is akin to the whole God Mind episode where people just start going crazy. Well, at the gas station there was a shootout. I don't know why. People are shooting at each other, and my wife was hit in the crossfire and died. But I was able to go back. I was like, no, we're not doing this. I'm gonna go back. And I rewound the episode, and then I was there. We're like, no, move over here. And then she still died. Okay, let's go back again. Rewind the episode. No, we're not even going to be in the gas station. Come with me. We're going to go all the way over here. And somehow, the bullet always found her. And the last time I tried running, I had done it countless times to try to save my wife from dying and not being killed in this stupid thing that doesn't mean anything. A fight between two people that are stupid about something that doesn't matter ended up killing someone that I care about the most. And I kept trying to save her and save her and save her and save her. And every time I rewound and took her somewhere new, she ended up dying in that place. And I hand to God, I remember as the dream was fading out, the last time she died, she was in my arms dying. And I was like, fuck. I can't get away from this. And hand to God, there was a voice that told me, be prepared to lose everything you're destined to lose. In a sense, learn to accept all you are destined to lose. And I woke up. And it's like, is that a nightmare? Sure, that's a nightmare, right? You get to watch someone you care about the most die repeatedly, over and over again. That's a nightmare. But what was the message? Something I don't want to accept. No, I'm not going to lose her. No, I'm not going to lose her. I'm not a bunch of crazy people are going to kill, be involved in the death of my wife. There's no way. But what did the voice say? Learn to accept all you are destined to lose. I was like, there's no. That must have been like my mind trying to remember what Yoda said in episode 3. Train yourself to let go of all you're afraid to lose. That must be what it is. Human logic being what it tries to be. Like, no, there's no way. It must be this. But then I thought about it for a long time and realized it's funny, isn't it? Because that's what it is. And when I'm watching death slowly take people from me, like all of us, it creeps in slow. Starts with great-grandparents, then grandparents, parents, friends, it closes in to fucking get you. I start to realize it's like, it is kind of funny, isn't it? There is nothing stable in this world, no matter how hard you think you try to create stability around you. It's a fucking joke if you even think you have stood a chance against the forces of death. That's the biggest thing we know as human beings. It's funny. It really is. When you think about it, how hard people try. How much they try to stay young, to look young, to exercise, to eat right, to just be healthy. To fight their cancer. To fight, I don't know, God knows what else human beings are fight to not die. To not go to a funeral because they're afraid to go. Human beings hide from death so fucking much. And it still will get them in the end. No matter what. No matter what you've done, what you didn't do, what life you lived. If it was a lie or not, doesn't matter. You're still going to lie there and be like, I'm dying, and this is it. And it's like, for what? Was it worth it? That's where it's funny. Because a lot of people will pretend that it was. And most will be saddened to find out it wasn't. Now, if that makes me a madman, well then alright, I guess, apparently. I like to believe that I like to look at death right in the face and say, I understand the hypocrisy of my life. I understand my thoughts. I understand that a lot of things I'm saying are a fucking joke. If death was a being, he'd be like, you're hilarious that you think you know, by the way. You know what I mean? I understand that. And I know that anything in this world, any earthly thing, doesn't mean shit. From the things you get, to the things you like, to the thoughts you have, to the God you pray to the science you think is all-encompassing, it don't mean shit, But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing. You just have to learn to see that and be like, oh. And do the one thing everyone acts like is the craziest thing ever to do. To go inside yourself and figure out who you are. Ain't that crazy? It's like driving a car. I mean, like, you ever kind of look around in the car? You ever look in your trunk? You ever kind of learn what model it is and get under the hood and stuff? Like, no. I think that's kind of weak to do that kind of stuff. To do that. That's what we people have to do. I practice stoicism. I just drive the car forward and don't think, and hope to God that he'll take care of me, because he will. And you think like, that's fucking insane. That's what people are doing with their own bodies and minds. They're just like, I don't think about the depths of myself. I just keep living life and believing everything people tell me. Again, this is why you laugh. And I'm the crazy one? You know what I mean? Something we're going to try to explore a little bit more when it comes to like the guide and his purpose. Because I feel like that's probably his purpose. I mean, he might not be. I might be totally off and he's totally something different. We'll find out, but it is a very interesting world to live in, isn't it? Some people believe so much that it weakens them. Some people's lack of faith brings them up. Eventually they will fall, though. A lot of the times in our lives, we do things that we don't exactly know why we do them. But we think, if I just kind of get it done, get it over with, listen to what they say, it'd make my life easier. Just get the thing. Just do the thing. Go just get the Social Security card. Go and do this. Go do that. Just do it and let them have it and just live on. That's the life I have mostly adopted. Let them have it. Someone says something that's so utterly stupid, you're just like, are you kidding me? But they're so animate about it. Like, no, like, this is life. That's life. You need to accept it. I just say, all right, you want to have that? You may have that. I am not willing to engage your mind. I don't want that. I want my own mind. So I let him have it. Like, yeah, sure. That's what life's about. You're so right. You know, how should I have ever known? And I let people have it. It's how I've always called. Let them have it. Just, you can have that. You need to do this. You need to think that. You need to pray to this God. You need to do these things. You need to feel this way. You need to think that. You need to care about this. You should do that. You need to try and be this thing. When you're writing, you should try to do that. You should do X, Y, and Z. And I just go, let him have it. Like, all right, man, you're so right about what I should do. Man, you're right. I will think about that. And I do. I ponder it. I sit and really dwell on the shit people think that I should do. I'm like, okay, maybe they know something I don't know. I will think about this. And then I'm always met with the end of the book. And I'm just like reading. They're like, well, none of that made any fucking sense to me. And that seems absolutely retarded. So I shall not do that. Or the positive side. Wow, that was insightful. That's interesting. I should look at life a little differently now. Now I have a new perspective. Thank you, ex-person that said that. You're a trusted individual that I shall respect. And now I will give you something that I think you should do. And everything in between, you know? But that's the best that I could come up with in this life. Just go on the inner journey and just kind of go, well, I don't know what's going on, but we'll hold on. And we'll lift the veil every once in a while to remind ourselves that death is going to swallow you at any point. You could be afraid all your life because of that and run from it, pretending you're not, you know, living your best life, you could say. Or you could just understand that, give it a nod and say, hey, every once in a while I will come and look at you and I will come to terms with everything I'm doing is pointless, and sometimes everything I think is pointless. But I can change that. And I will try my best to be a better person because of that. And you go off and you try to live your life again. You know, it's very Buddhist, I guess you could say. But that's it, man. I think that's the best that I can come up with at this point. But just because something's scary or haunting, terrifying, traumatic, doesn't mean it's a nightmare. Sometimes it's there to teach you something. And sometimes the cost is really fucking high. Higher than you could fathom as a mortal. you know? But there's a cost to knowledge. There's a cost to understanding things. And like my one dream said, learn to accept all you are destined to lose. And that's everything. Because you have everything to lose. Even though you don't want to believe it. Even though you want to believe, like, this is just a temporary thing. I'm just homeless for right now. It's just temporary, you know. People are. No, man. That's not even a sliver of the shit you need to fucking lose before you finally lose your life. You gotta accept it. You can't run from it. You can't be like, oh, I'll distract myself with my politics or, I don't know, man, my job. Like, no, man. It comes anyway. It's not like, well, hold on. Joshua's really focused on his job right now. We won't take him. No, man. It'll take you because you're like forgetting about your family while you're working on your job. Treating your spouse like shit. Neglecting your parents. You know, like, it will remind you of everything you have failed. It's brutal, man. It really is. But it doesn't mean it's not funny. Doesn't mean it's not like something that you're not supposed to feel. It's just, that's how it is, dude. That's the teacher. Life is your greatest teacher. And it is an overwhelming tragedy, isn't it? But anyway, we're going to move on to the next one. And we'll see what the day comes with. I don't know. We'll find out. Till next time.